So when people tell you that if you get married early, you have kids first and you did not concentrate on your career, I think it doesn't stop you. Hi everyone, I'm Amandeep Kaur. Generally people know me as Aman Bhatia. A girl of 19 from a very small town came to Ludhiana, and as my father had a transferable job, I came here, and this was a time we got to know about something called the aviation industry in the early 2000s. And this was something that literally clicked me at one go. I told my dad that I want to do a training for this. And being a typical middle class father, he said it's very expensive. We cannot afford it. But then I played my girl card. I told him that we being two sisters and a brother, if this would have been a case for my brother, you would have spent that money. It literally pinched him. He did pay for that training. I did my training and I got into the airlines. At 20, like any other normal girl, I fell in love. He was so perfect that I felt he was tailor-made for me, especially me. He was nice, good, warm, loving. But that, and getting married to him meant letting go of my dreams. But anyways, I did that. At 21, I got married to this guy. I had a huge career in front of me, traveling all across the world. But then I chose Ludhiana. I sat here, I was with him, but in the next 6 months, I felt not marrying him was a regret. But yes, staying in Ludhiana and not fulfilling my dreams was. I felt something is missing in my life. So anyways, I wanted to get rid of all those bad and negative thoughts, and I opted for a job. I went out to the job market. My first interview, I got through. I was preparing myself for the service industry, and this was another service industry. This was an institute that was training air hostesses. So they were preparing these girls, and I went into for a counselor's job. I got into my job and I had my job, but I had to leave that job also. I just worked for them for 1.5 years, and then I was expecting my first daughter. Another 3 years, I had my second daughter. And I was put into that bechara category that you have 2 daughters. But I was very firm that I want to raise my daughters beautifully. Because, preparing your next generation is also an equivalently important job as having a career for yourself. So next 10 years, I spent with them. And one day my husband came and he said, why are you becoming so itchy these days? And my mother-in-law said, very, very supportive woman. And she said, why don't you start studying again? And I completed my master's. And after completing my master's again, I was back home and I had nothing to do. I had no, vision of doing anything. Though I was teaching for the last 10 years in my house as a tuition teacher, because that was the only thing that I was doing. And that is the only me time that I was getting in the full day. That 1 hour, a group of like 10, 15 students who would come, and I would talk to them, and I would tell them how you should follow your dreams, and they still come back. And they still come back and talk to me and tell me how, ma'am, your talks and the things that you told us did help us. When my husband used to listen to these lectures when I used to give it to my students, he thought that I was better off outside the house rather than inside the house. So he really supports me in that way. One day he comes back home. He says, my office is on the 3rd floor and the 5th floor, the complete floor is getting empty. I said, so? He said, let's start something. And I said, last 10 years, I'm back home. How would I start something like that? He said, you can. You don't know your potential, but you can. I said, no, I cannot do this. Bachche itne chote hain. I won't be able to manage things. We will manage. He said me in a very firm voice. I said, fine, let's see what happens. Even on the first day, my inauguration of my 3rd baby, Learnex, I was there and I was not convinced that this would work. Because I am a little attached with my kids and I never wanted to leave them. But I did anyways. I had a supportive family who always pushed me hard. And today, See, it's been 7 years, my institute is there, and there was no looking back after that. I think the job that I took, so everything, that happens in your life is for a greater good. Everything, every step, every possibility that you come across is something that, takes you, shapes you. It procures an aura around you wherein you can achieve something for which you are made, for which you should work for. And maybe वो कहते हैं कि when you want something, the full universe plays its role to provide you that. At Learnex, we were doing wonderfully nice. Things are very good. Things were doing very nicely. And then after 5 years of my institute, COVID happened. And I thought everything is going to be shattered. I won't be able to do anything now. And again, going back, this industry has had such a back off. I had a staff of 8 to 10 people, and I had to let go of everybody after 3 months because I was not able to pay their salaries. I had nothing in my hand. I was giving everything from my own pocket. But I thought, I'll have to start everything from scratch. But yes, COVID was also an opportunity. I got a new platform called online trainings. And that gave me more establishment, that gave me more knownness in this field, as all the students who'd already done IELTS from us, they are already sitting in Canada and Australia and New Zealand and America. These students wanted to do IELTS from the same teachers who had helped them achieve their required bands for their academic IELTS. So they did that. So here, there were students whom we had taught. Then there were their friends. And then this 1 + 1 + 1 was a big platform. And within 3 months, wherein I was thinking that I had to shut down my establishment, it just boomed. It just boomed, wherein people were losing their jobs, I was hiring people. Wherein people were selling off their assets, I was gathering more. And COVID also came in as a blessing for my business. At 19, I was at the peak of my career. And at 37, again, I'm at the peak of my career. In between, I had my marriage, my children. I studied again, procured another degree, was still back home for 10 years, and it did not stop me. When you have a vision that you want to do something in your life, when you are focused that you don't want to have a normal life, when you have this aura in your mind, or you want something which is different than any other person who's around you, you want a different life, you can have it.
Josh Talks is now a Spotify exclusive podcast. The audio version of our talks will be available only on Spotify. If you like this video and you like to listen to more inspiring stories like this, please follow the Josh Talks podcast only on Spotify.
Tell us what you think about this video and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.